best thing about improving your frame rate is that you can become the best player possible. You'll be hitting all your shots and strike gold by going to Radiant. Okay, I can't really help your gameplay, but today I will be helping your FPS, and that much is a problem. As you can see here right on camera, over 1,000 frames per second. I already have a good computer. I'm very thankful, but I still went from 500 FPS to over 1,000 with these setting changes. So by the end of this video, I promise you, maybe a little, maybe a lot, you will be improving your FPS. However, this is a no BS guide, so you're going to learn exactly what each thing does, and I'm going to be fully transparent. Like the fact that this video is sponsored by Ironside. A good computer is the quickest way to improve your frame rate, and they are a huge reason this video is even possible. And even if you don't have $1 to spare, you are still part of this process, because you can get a Ryzen 7 9800 X3D, a 5070 Ti, 64 gigs of RAM, 2TB SSD, and much more for free. Yes, Ironside is doing a giveaway in their newest limited edition milk box giveaway, and you can win it for free by using the link down below to enter this giveaway. You're also going to hear more about Ironside as a sponsor, but before we do that and I overwhelm you, you're going to get some tips to start improving your FPS. Now, there's no better place to start than Valorant itself, and if you are in windowed, you can see right now I have 380 frames. If I go to full screen, it's the easiest improvement. From windowed to full screen, we went from 380 to like 480. It's straight up 100 frames per second for one simple setting. Now, next you have the resolution tab. I actually recommend you play at your native resolution. Lowering your resolution can increase your frames. If I change from 4K to 1440p, we just gain 300 frames per second, and if I do it again for 1080p, we'll hit 1,000 frames. It'll go blurry as I lower the resolution, but this is only really working because as I lower the resolution, it gets more focused on my CPU, and I have a very powerful CPU. However, a lot of gaming computers, especially if you just bought one from a store, is GPU heavy. So not everyone will see substantial improvements by lowering your resolution, but it will look like shit. So I do recommend playing at your native resolution. Next, make sure at the bottom NVIDIA Reflex is set to on or on plus boost, whatever the highest setting is. Of course, if you go to the graphics quality, this is most likely where people mess around the most. Turn off VSync, and if you just straight up turn everything to the lowest, you will get a frame rate boost. However, there's more nuance to this. So let's lower everything. Bam. We are now at 950 frames. It worked all right, 100%. However, by lowering my frames from 900 to 100, I can improve the visual quality substantially without messing with anything else. Watch this. If I leave all my settings at the top to high, but the only thing I change is detail quality, you can see I lowered my frame by like 30 FPS, but the game already looks a lot better. Furthermore, if I go to the bottom and everything is on except improve clarity, I still have 800 frames. So I sacrificed 100 frames for everything to be on high settings. The only difference was detail quality off and improve clarity off. Those two eat up your frames. If you don't believe me, watch what happens when I turn on improve clarity. From 800 to 600, 200 frames just bam, gone due to one setting, which is kind of insane. Now, if I play around with the anti-aliasing, if I put that to max, I cut my frames in half. So anti-aliasing is on top of the other stuff, the #1 thing. Turn that off, go from 4x to none, and you double your frames. That's simple. When it comes to the filtering, X1 versus 16x is about 50 frames. So if you're really low on frames, go on X1. But since I'm not dying for more frames, I personally turn it on just so that it's a little bit easier to see everything. It improves the sharpness, basically. Now I'm working with big numbers, which change things a lot. 850 to 800, meaning that one setting is actually reducing my frames by 5%. But because I have these large numbers to work with, 5% is 50 frames. For you guys, if you have 100 frames, that'll be 5 frames per second. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so we went through the settings within Valorant. If your frames didn't improve, which they should have, I would be surprised. The only reason your frames didn't improve is if you've already done the settings before, which to that point, of course, fair. There's still more you can do. This next part will help improve frames for sure, but the biggest thing on part 2 of this video is that going into the window settings and different things you can change within your PC itself will reduce stuttering and frame stability. So your line is nice and straight instead of any dips or inconsistencies. So we're going to get to the settings and go from there. However, remember Ironside, they are the sponsor of today's video, and it's time to give them some love, since even before optimizing anything, I was getting like 1,000 frames because their computer is just that good. I had my dog help me unbox it, and it's upside down. I unboxed their computer upside down, legs first. Whoopsies. Anyways, moving from there, I at least had extremely smooth peel off for that satisfying footage. Kind of. Okay. The first thing I noticed is just how premium this thing looks. I mean, we're talking about like gold buttons, wood front, amazing art on the side of the glass. This is extremely high quality. You already know it's good when my dog was interested in the computer. This particular model is called the Eden's Veil, and they have a lot of beautiful different cases. Look at the etching at the top, and better yet, if you're actually going to open up the computer, it looks flawless. Beautiful cable management. They went with white, gold, and black, which is a fantastic color scheme. On top of that, it comes with every single accessory that you should own by purchasing a computer, meaning the power supply has extra cables. You get those cables for future upgrades if you needed to. Anything that the computer inherently would come with component by component, you get everything, which is very, 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 very important. Now, it's competing against my old computer right there, the purple one. On one monitor, I'm going to have the new computer. On the other monitor, I'm going to have the old computer, and they're about to go into a head-to-head battle. Of course, first we got to boot it up. I clicked the button and nothing happened. I had a heart attack. But it's my fault. The power supply is off by default, which is how it should be. Turn that on, press the power button again, bada bing, bada boom, we've got power. Like, I already thought this thing was pretty, but once I got the light shining through from the back end and was able to actually see everything clearly, man, this thing is super pretty, and it somehow only gets better. Because the first thing I did is retake off that side panel carefully and take a peek on the inside. I like to see what sort of work they've done, and again, it is flawless. And I even found out when carefully looking here that there is a light strip on the side. It's probably tucked in for safe shipping, and if you take that out, it's actually a magnetic light strip for more RGB or more lighting that you can put anywhere in the case. Since it's magnetic, you can set this up anywhere you want. I'm putting it at the bottom so that the art can shine through better, but you can put it anywhere. Also, no one likes a saggy GPU, so I put that GPU stand as quickly as possible to make sure that over time it doesn't slowly dip. Okay, but with everything sorted and 100% ready, it is time for it to go head to head against my OG computer. My OG computer is going to be fighting this, a Ryzen 7 9800 X3D, a NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5080, 64 gigabytes of RAM, and a 2 terabyte SSD. Also, look at this cute little shark fin. This is the Wi-Fi adapter that comes with the computer, and it's magnetic, so you can hide it if you want, and now it's out of the way, and you get a full, beautiful aesthetic. And again, with that light shining through, it's amazing. But okay, my bad. I keep looking at the computer instead of my monitor. Eyes back there. Valorant booted up against both. My OG computer clocking in a very respectable 500 frames per second. But the Ironside computer got 1,100 frames, quite literally doubling. And before you ask, both monitors and resolutions were set at 1440p. All settings were maxed out, minus improved clarity and beta experimental sharpening, including anisotropic filtering as well as anti-aliasing. And if that isn't enough, I ran a test and it scored 184% gaming, 121% desktop, and 195% workstation. For user benchmark, the highest score you can get is 100%, which they classify as UFO. There's basically 2 UFOs in this one computer, and it's all thanks to Ironside, who built it in a beautiful way, which is kind of the big thing here, because when buying a PC from them specifically, the biggest benefit is that it's custom. The biggest benefit is that it's a statement, and just look at this. I don't think I gotta say much more. Thanks to Ironside for sponsoring today's video, and let's get back to improving your FPS. But okay, time to change some Windows settings and check things out. Of course, we're on the Ironside PC, but either way, let's go to the NVIDIA app if you have a GeForce card, or if you have an AMD card, go to the AMD app and make sure to check your drivers. I know it might sound simple, but sometimes it's easy to forget, and drivers almost always offer performance boosts. Next, I want you to right click the bottom, click Task Manager, and look for Valorant. If I were to look for Valorant here and I right click, you're not going to see very many options, but in the left side here, if you click the little tab second last to the bottom, you're going to find an advanced version of the Task Manager, and I want you to scroll down to Valorant Win64 as well as Valorant. I want you to right click, set priority, and click high for both. This, of course, just focuses your computer's resources on Valorant. If you are multitasking or doing a lot, it might cause instability. However, this is unlikely. If you're playing Valorant, you're usually locked in, you aren't doing a billion things, so set the priority high so the computer is focused on it. Next, I want you to go to your settings on the left-hand side, go down to gaming, and here there are a couple things I want you to change. First, let's go to the game mode. In the game mode, I want to make sure you have this off, which is to optimize your PC by turning background processes off automatically. Windows can help handle this. Second, go to the game bar, and unless you use the game bar for anything, turn it off because it's using resources for no reason at all. So far, so good. We've covered some basics. Next, I want you to type graphics settings, click the graphics button, and it's going to take you basically system display graphics. Here we have the most important stuff. Optimizations for windowed games. Make sure this is on. It reduces latency. Hardware accelerated GPU scheduling. This is important. Some people will tell you yes, some people will tell you no. The truth is we have real world data that for some it will cause stutterings and issues and crashes. It did on my old computer, it's not doing it on this computer. Valorant used to have an issue that they patched. So if you're stuttering and it's off by default, turn it on. If you're crashing or stuttering and it's on by default, turn it off and see if you get improvements. Variable refresh rate right underneath. That one is a no-brainer. Just keep it on. It makes Valorant feel smoother overall. It makes gaming experiences feel smoother overall. Perfect. Next, what we're going to be doing is searching power and click choose a power plan. Now, when you open it up, you might only see a few options. Click additional plans. Find the highest one you have. Most of you will be high performance. I have ultimate performance due to the PC. Again, Ironside W. I'm going to click ultimate performance. And then if you were to close and reopen this, you're going to see it's now moved to the top. This, of course, just lets your PC run at its most optimum or most powerful version. If you're on a laptop, this will drain more battery. Next, in the bottom right, make sure any programs you don't need are closed. I have quite a few, but I also stream and record, so OBS, you have my Focusrite, you have my mic stuff, my Stream Deck, etc. So I have a few programs here. Anything you don't need like Steam or Spotify, whatever, when you're playing Valorant, close it. Furthermore, you can search msconfig and at the top, system configuration, then click startup right there at the top, and then you can open Task Manager, or you can open Task Manager and on the left-hand side, you'll see this tab. Both ways you can do it. I'm a little bit old school, so I search msconfig. Either way, everything here is what actually boots up with your computer. Like I used to have Xbox booting up. I don't use Xbox, so I disabled it. If you phone link, I don't use Microsoft Phone Link, I disabled it. OneDrive, disabled. Anything you do not use, disable, so that when your PC is booting up, you don't have all these background processes, some of which you can't even close unless you reset your PC. Next, I want you to right click, go to AMD, and here, again, make sure you have your AMD drivers updated. And on top of that, there is an option within the settings to go to a game and set performance mode. So obviously in this case, we're going to go to Valorant, and we're actually going to set it to performance mode. A nice little last tip, and it's very important, keep track of your CPU temperature. Keep track of your entire PC's temperature, but the CPU temp usually is the one that people have trouble with as the PC gets very dusty over time. So make sure you clean your computer to remove dust, and that will drop the temperature. Or in my case, my CPU cooler was just getting old. I had to put a new one with new thermal paste. I dropped 15 degrees Celsius and my stuttering was gone. Obviously, this was the old computer, not this new one from Ironside. Next, I want you to go to the search, click notifications or search notifications, and turn off any you don't use. You can just turn off all of them so they don't pop up mid-game. I like a couple, but I almost turn off everything here so that it can reduce stuttering by mid-game notifications. Anyways, with all that being said, I hope you improved your frame rates. And if you are really struggling after all this optimization, might be time for a new computer, one of which you can get using Ironside. You can join their giveaway if you don't got the money to spare right now and have a chance to win one. Or you can go to their website and start shopping. I personally got the Eden's Veil from them. Again, as a sponsor, huge W to them. But there's a lot of different options. There's the Ironside series, which is a little bit cheaper, simpler looking overall, but still very aesthetic, minimalistic, and can all have all the great same components, so it won't change the frame rate at all at a more affordable price. You can check that out. If you have some extra money to spare, I highly recommend their limited editions or other stuff, just because where they really shine is the beauty. Man, they are a statement piece and they're beautiful. Eden's Veil was my favorite. There was the Tokyo Dream as well as the Milk Box. Both also were very tempting, but I chose the Eden's Veil in the end. So check out Ironside using the link down below.